Everyone, assalamu alaikum to those on the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. Wow, it's once again we have another Moorish body politic formation class. We've been at this for about 3 months now. We're going to start as we always do with the roll.
Islam, Kazarnak Kiribati, Allodium Haru Martinium Provinciae, political jurisdiction where Colorado operates.
Islam, Maria de Maya Bay, Allodium Haru Mauritania Provinciae, political jurisdiction where Colorado operates in Morocco.
Next.
Islam, Nicole Bay, Allodium Haru Mauritania Provincial political jurisdiction where Colorado operate in Morocco.
All right, Islam. Let's go. Next.
Islam, Malik Zayed Bay, Allodium Haru, Mauritania Provincia, political jurisdiction where Colorado operates.
Islam. Next. Let's move on.
Finally Bay, Louisiana, in Morocco.
Islam, next.
Islam, Mariah, and Anthony Harper Bay. We live in or domicile in Morocco, where the political jurisdiction of Chicago, Illinois operates.
All right, Islam.
Gabonde Wase Bay, Allodium Moorish Pradium, Monte, Colorado.
Islam. Next. Don't jump in.
The illustrious Joaquin Bay, Miami West.
I can't hear. We can't hear.
Illustrious Joaquin Bay, Miami Republic of Morocco.
All right, Islam. Next.
Al Isa Ali Bay, domicile in Morocco, where the political jurisdiction of New Jersey operates.
All right, Islam. All right. Move on. Anybody else?
Islam, this is Noble Quinnell speaking to you from Morocco, where the incorporated political jurisdiction of Louisiana is located.
Well, Louisiana is not located anywhere but on paper. It operates as a body, as a political organization in the British zone, but it's on paper. It's not a geography or location. Or there's boundaries of operation. If you're talking the boundaries of operation of Louisiana as a political organization, political structure. Next.
Arthur Triggs L., domiciling in Morocco, in the political jurisdiction of New Jersey, operating in New Jersey, political jurisdiction in New Jersey.
So we have to come to understand political jurisdiction and territorial jurisdiction. Political jurisdiction and territorial jurisdiction. Our land is on occupation, been on occupation for over 500 years. Spain, Portugal, France, the Netherlands, Great Britain. They have surveyed various portions of our land and created European colonial boundary maps that we've learned in school. They're just that. So we must understand that what it is. So we're looking at territorial jurisdiction. So territory and political jurisdiction. So the territory is the actual physical land. The political jurisdiction, New Jersey, North Carolina, Delaware, and not the territory. The territory is Moorish land. The political jurisdiction in the British zone. So these are British zones, Spanish zones, French zones, Dutch zones. And so when you see these political land secession maps that we went through in the law class, weeks 1 and 2, for those who've taken a law class, so George 201. All right, just want to reiterate that point. This is very important that we get this this principle across so that we can teach our communities. We can speak articulately as we talked about these land secession treaties, the Treaty of Paris, 1763, Treaty of Paris, 1783, and all the various land secession treaties among the European powers who have colonized the land for 500 years. All right. Anyone else?
Islam, Faria Elisa L, living upon the soil of Morocco, domiciling in the political jurisdiction of Cockeysville, Maryland.
You're still domiciling in Morocco. The Cockeysville, Maryland is a political jurisdiction that operates in the Moorish soil. So you don't domicile in the Cockeysville, Maryland. Next.
Islam. I am Jamil. I am Jamil Malik Bey. I'm here in Morocco, El Maghreb, Al-Aqsa, in the portion that we refer to as the Khalifa territory.
All right. So we domicile in Morocco. So we domicile in Morocco. So it's about writing ourselves back into Morocco. You start by writing ourselves back into Morocco, starts mentally and forming political structure. All right, next. Yeah, we got to get back into Morocco. We're on the land. We're on the land. We're talking back in Morocco means jurisdiction. We got to get back in the jurisdiction of Morocco. We're on the physical land, but we got to get back in the jurisdiction of Morocco.
Brother Abdullah, question.
Yes.
Does latitude and longitude deal with the political zone?
The European powers had hired land surveyors.
Mm-hmm.
They've surveyed portions of Morocco. So on the maps that you see on websites, that's on schools,
mm-hmm.
they were surveyed based on land cession treaties that we learned in the class, weeks 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So the longitude, latitude is actual, that's that. They're, it's based on this astronomy on our land. But we talk about the name, but they created the boundaries though. These are boundaries that we didn't create. The boundaries are created through land cession treaties. And they are in the land cession treaties, the Treaty of Paris 1763 is one of them. Treaty of Paris 1783. There's other land cession treaties. They have the boundaries. The boundaries pertain to Moorish land, all right? But they're creating a political jurisdiction through the land cession treaties. All right?
So the longitude and latitude was before then.
The longitude, latitude that you see on the map, they're creating a portion, they're mapping out a portion of Moorish land.
Okay.
They have survey companies that do that.
Mm-hmm.
The survey is in the maps, in the treaties. The longitude, latitude of their boundaries of operation, of their political jurisdiction of operation are in the treaties. These longitude, latitude are actual, but they're measuring a portion of what that allows them to operate. So you have to say, well, Michigan, New Jersey, South Carolina, North Carolina, their boundaries. Their political boundaries that were created through surveying. They're actual surveys. You know, so we said, what's the boundary? What's the boundary? Where does New Jersey stop? Where does North Carolina stop or begin? They're actual survey boundaries, but they're not the name of the land. They're political jurisdictions in the British zone. They're not territory. All right, let's move on. Next. All right. So we have the wampum prayer, wampum 7, Iroquois Confederate Constitution, offers thanks to the earth where humanity dwell, to the streams of water, the pools, the springs and the lakes, to the maize and the fruits, to the medicinal herbs and trees, to the forest trees for their usefulness, to the animals that serve as food and give their pelts for clothing, to the great winds and the lesser winds, to the thunders, to the sun, the mighty warrior, to the moon, to the messengers of the Creator who reveal his wishes, and to the great Creator who dwells in the heavens above, who gives all the things useful to men, and who is the source of the ruler of health and life. Majlis rules of order, online and in person. No recording online nor in person. No photos during presentation. Zoom, keep mic muted during meeting until your selected time to speak during Q&A. Hold all questions until Q&A session. In person, raise paddle during Q&A session. Zoom, select hand raise button. 2 to 3 minutes or less per question. Minimum communication in the chat to allow for participants to focus on the presentation. There's been too much communication in the chat. So let's minimize that. In person, please disconnect from in-house Wi-Fi to prevent drops. All right, so we're going to continue with the ecclesiastical constitution framework. I'm going to bring Shem Malachi Bray up.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Shalom to everybody. Shalom. Glad to be here in front of the elected body of Moorish governments that's trying to form their provincial government, which we need. We have to get a ray in government affairs. For now, we're going to start with the ecclesiastic constitution. So we're going to go over this so the Moors can know, the Moors can know that this is the format that when you create an ecclesiastic constitution, there's some in the other forms, but this is the one that we pick as a schoolmaster. Okay, Amar? What we was at, Tamara, 6? We was at 6, section 6 of 7, article 7, section 6. Okay, Omar?
Section 6, checks, drafts, etc. All checks, drafts, or other orders for the payment of money, notes, or other evidences of indecisiveness issued in the name of the GCSM will be signed by such officer or agent of the DCSM and in such manner as determined by resolution of the Board of Elders and Trustees approved by the General Divine Overseer. Section 7, deposits. All funds of the DCSM not otherwise employed will be deposited to the credit of the DCSM in such banks, trust companies, or other depositories as the board may select. Article 8, the elders. Section 1, standards and procedures. A, the current guidelines of the Ministries of Divine Cultural Society of Michigama, DCSM, for the call, initiation, and severance procedures as amended from time to time are incorporated in these Constitution bylaws. B, the board will adopt policies and procedures for implementing the DCSM, Divine Cultural Society of Michigama Ministries guidelines. Such policies and procedures adopted by the board should be consistent with the policies of the Divine Cultural Society of Michigama unless the board determines it is in the best interest of the DCSM to
Okay.
depart from such private policies.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions concerning this?
Yes. Do we have this, or is this something that you're just sharing with us?
We're just sharing this with you right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, the reason why we have this up here because we're giving you a format to teach you so you can start when you start a structure your ecclesiastic body, you will have a format to go by. I mean, there'll be something constructed in your mind that you will have a format to go by, and later on down the line, you will be able to have, from looking at this, writing, you'll be able to have a template you can go by. So this is for anyone that's operating an ecclesiastic body, which consists of, let's say, 7 people. And you have who's the leader, the general divine overseer. Then you have what you would call the elders. You say that 3 elders, and then you will have 2 operating as the ministry. So you can set up your political organization, and then you can bring in members as you need fit. But this will be enough for you to operate. If you got a charter, a flag, and a seal, this will be enough for you to operate under as a clique, because you're relying on the old covenants of the seers. See, it's been a long time that nobody never really taught the true intent of the Moors how to do government. Everybody said, well, the sultan, the emperor, the empress, the king and the queen. No, it's always been the seer, the prophetess, the prophet, the apostle. It always been them. The ones that was able to communicate to telepathy and voice with the unseen world, the unseen powers. That power cannot be taken away from the Moors. It's something that the Moors relied on. The Air Corps relied on it. The Lenape relied on it. Moors has been under subjugation, put in servitude, not by just the Albions. The Moors has been oppressed under apartheid, genocide, and rape by the Moors nations. Moors nations and Moor states going to war against each other under different divinity principles. Some don't believe in warring. Some believe in warring and taking advantage of those who be the degrees of nonviolence. And when fear is on people, they take sides. Intimidating and fear will make you take the side of an enemy. It make you take the side of what's wrong. It make you take a decision to say wrong is right. Error is facts. Wrong concepts is all right with me because you're under fear. You're intimidated. You're scared. So you have to remember, in order to do this, you can't be a coward. You have to be brave. What you talking about, Shem? Just like they trained you to be under fear, intimidated, be this way for your inherent claim, have courage based on your divinity that's in you. Now invoke the divinity in you and take control of your body. And y'all come together and assemble. Then when you assemble, you follow principles that's ancient, that keeps you under control, balance, where you won't go wrong. You won't fall into trap, tricks, and trades. Got to remember this. Moors are taking advantage of Moors. Moors are saying stuff that they can't even prove it because it was handed down to them. But yet you don't have no government. You don't have no structure. Moors are capturing Moors with wrong concepts. Moors are capturing Moors and stuff that was not even written or said hundreds of years ago. They making it up as they go along, just to capture and control the people. Go ahead, Abdullah.
All right, so we have here, we got to reclaim our culture. This is yours. This is ours. You see those old Masonic buildings all over the world. This is ours.
That's right.
This is what Shem is talking about. All right? The invisible, unseen world manifested in the visible world. Geometry. Geometry. So snowflakes, seashells, crystals,
Go ahead, go ahead.
plants, flowers, leaves. No man on this planet makes that. No man, no woman makes seashells, makes snowflakes, makes crystals, makes the leaves. The human body, the human form. Man makes this building, construct this building. Shem, do me a favor, please. Sit there, go in the back, please. Let's go in the back. Thank you. So geometry unlocks the secrets of creation. The geometric genetic code of a plant, of a leaf, seashell, crystal, snowflake is in the unseen world. Geometry is the blueprint, the connector to the unseen world. This is what this means. When you see this, this is what this means. So it's not good enough to say that's ours. You need to understand what it is. This is world. This is worldwide. They have all in Masonic buildings. Worldwide. All right. So come back. I want to connect. What we're doing is connecting this compass and square, the G, to what Shem is saying. That's all.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. I get excited when I hear this stuff coming like this. When this stuff coming like this, man, it's like somebody give me a pile of gold. I'm happy because I'm glad y'all can be taught properly now on what an ecclesiastic constitution. Professor Abdul have given something that's so potent that it would take a man's life behind. This man putting his life on the line because this isn't supposed to be taught, even educated to Moors or can teach anybody else in an institution. But what we're doing is we fall into the institution of righteousness. Therefore, they can't do nothing because we're not going out here radically with guns on our shoulder. Somebody took our land. See, we know how to move through the spirit, divinity, and educate the people. Now, if we get back to the corporate soul, where was that the corporate soul? No, they didn't leave off here. This is the preamble. We went through this already. Yeah, seven chapter. Now, before I get back into this, Professor Abdullah hit hard with something that's potent. Does anybody have any questions on this? Please. Because this is the principle that we must know if we're going to assemble together and run government. Elders, yeah. Seven, ain't it? Right there. No, we's at what? 8. Article 8.
Islam.
Yes, you got a question?
Yes. Can you explain to me what does an elder do? I keep hearing you say elder. So what is that elder's position?
Well, the elders are the ones that have the knowledge of the philosophy. They hold the mystery that they was taught. They are the elders. That means they are taught, they learn. They was taught by the bishop, which the bishop was taught by the seer. And they handed down like an inheritance, the unseen, the wisdom. Yes, it should. Okay, we're going back to elder. We're going to start at Article 8, darling, so you can read the elder, the responsibility in ecclesiastic constitution, the role of elder. Go ahead.
Article 8, the elders. Section 1, standards and procedures. The current guidelines of the Ministries of Divine Cultural Society of Michigama for the call, initiation, and severance procedures as amended from time to time are incorporated in these constitution bylaws. B, the board will adopt policies and procedures for implementing the DCSM. Such policies and procedures adopted by the board should be consistent with the policies of the Divine Cultural Society of Michigama, unless the board determines it is in the best interest of the DCSM to depart from such private policies. Section 2, the call. A 3/4 or higher majority vote of members present at a legally called meeting of the congregation is required to call the minister that elected by the Board of Elders and approved by the General Divine Overseer. B, the quorum for a meeting to call or dismiss a minister is 40% of the voting membership within the Michigama Republic or in a Moorish treaty state location. Section 3, duties. The duties, expectations, and responsibilities of the elders, minister, and trustees shall be as provided in a letter of agreement and the leadership covenant. Section 4.
Oh, stop right there. Now, the leadership covenant is what is the orders and covenants of the prophet, the prophetess, or the seer that they are under. Means something that's formally set for them to follow to divinity. So that would be the leadership covenant. So if they go against, the elders are the ones that are trained and taught to hold that culture, tradition of that seer. He's learned and trained. He's the one that teach and hand it down. He teach the ministers. The bishop teach the elders. The seer teach the bishop. This is why the Catholic Church stole this procedure. They stole this format. Yes, they did. They stole it. And they're using it right before your eyes. And the people not even paying attention. Oh, no, there ain't nothing. There ain't nothing. What do you think they got it from? You saying it ain't nothing. They say, okay, it ain't nothing, huh? We got it from your ancestors. We got this from your ancestors. They didn't conjure it up and made it up in a university or college. They can't see. They can't get this unfound wisdom. They can't get this revelation. They have to learn it from us. You got anything you want to say, Abdullah?
Yes. So we have the all-seeing eye. All right. So we have the all-seeing eye. All right. They wear our aprons. All right, covering the lower chakras, the all-seeing eye, divine providence, and guidance from the unseen world. So we have this compass and square and the G in the middle. We have the all-seeing eye. All right, above, which is the capstone pyramid, and we have in the shadow we have the number 7. So when you see the all-seeing eye, that's divine providence, which means to see forth from guidance from the unseen world. You're guided by the unseen. But they say the unseen hand. Don't say the unseen hand of God. Let's translate that. So geometry allows the unseen hand to be manifested in the visible world. As I said before, that's the blueprint to the unseen. We have to understand what you see here. This is our culture. This is our compass and square. But saying it's ours means nothing if you don't know what it means. Means nothing. All right, I just want to provide that. We have to connect what Shem is saying. The compass is square and the G in the middle, the all-seeing eye, the capstone of the pyramid. I want to put images that you see that we are people contributing to Masonic orders. All right, our brothers and sisters, Eastern Stars and Masons and Masonic orders, they're contributing that as the origin of it to Masonic orders, to the Grand Lodge in England, 1717. They don't go back 10, 25, 50,000 years. They don't connect it to them by birthright. But it's about the knowledge. We got to raise them up with knowledge. All right? So I'm glad Shem is explaining the structure and its origin of the Catholic Church and where they got it from. And we're connecting the principles. It's divine. We have to connect. You cannot raise a people. We cannot just give you civic instructions without giving you the origin of it. That is not jurisprudence. That's not jurisprudence. You're not teaching law. If you're not teaching the foundation by which it's built, this is the foundation. You're operating in parliament. You're a head of state. You're a judge. And you don't have the foundation. How can you be that? How can you, you may be that, by being elected by, population of people, voters. You may be that. But are you truly that? You're that by being elected. All right? But I'm talking about being that on the divine side, being that through divinity, so that the civilization can flourish and last. Without this knowledge, it's coming down. You are not building anything without this knowledge. This is the ancient principles on which governments, which societies, civilizations are built. They're keeping this from us. And so we see the compass and square and the all-seeing eye, and they're Masonic symbols. They're Masonic symbols. They're Masonic symbols. I'm a Mason. My apron, ring, hat, t-shirt, jacket. I'm a Mason. They're playing us. My brothers, my Masonic brothers and Eastern Star sisters. They're playing us. They're using us as sureties, futures, tax base, as part of their population, which they can get finance, so humanitarian funds, as being a part of their population. They're playing us. This is divine knowledge. Jim?
Whew. In a row here. In a row educating our people, boy. They getting it. Yes. Go ahead, Mar. Whew.
Section 4, severance. A, departure of the minister shall be in accordance with the DCSM guidelines 2. B, the quorum for a meeting to dismiss the minister or trustee is 40% of the voting membership within Divine Cultural Society and Michigama Ministries in the Michigama Republic.
Yeah.
B, the quorum for a meeting to dismiss the minister or trustee is 40% of the voting membership within Divine Cultural Society of Michigama Ministries in the Michigama Republic territory location.
Now, let me explain this right here, this paragraph. The reason why the elders, the board of elders, can have a vote to dismiss a minister and a trustee because they're appointing them. This is called power, legislative power. Have to be in the Constitution. And you know that they're saying the territory they at. That means they're operating in the province or regions, which is called his government, the Mississippi Republic territory. That's in Morocco. That's land. See, they're not talking about just a political jurisdiction. They're talking about land now. Because the ecclesiastic body deals with estates, real land, real soil, nothing artificial. Deal in nature, divinity. There's no in between with them. There's no in between nature and divinity. Professor Abdullah made it clear. There is no in between fiction rim. You cannot get anything in nature that not have come from the invisible. You can't claim that the invisible doesn't exist because Professor Abdullah said it. Based on principle, divine principle, what you see is what's here. That's evidence. Now, who put it here? Not a man or woman. How did the man and woman get here? So that's evidence. Without seeing that world, that they exist, that power exists. That's evidence. Go ahead, Mar.
Section 5, voting procedures. Voting to call or dismiss the minister shall be by secret ballot.
Go ahead.
Article 9, fiscal year. The fiscal year of the DCSM is December blank to year.
That's the
blank.
year, the fiscal year. They start doing their budget. Go ahead.
Article 10, indemnification of trustees, officers, and employees. The DCSM will, to the full extent permitted by the Charter, Constitution, bylaws, indemnify the divine overseer, elders, ministers, and trustees, officers, and employees whom it may indemnify pursuant thereto, and such indemnification will continue as to any person who has ceased to be a divine overseer, elders, ministers, and trustees, officer, or employee, and will inure to the benefit of the heirs, executors, and administrators of such person, all as provided and subject to the terms and provisions of the foregoing statute, which is incorporated herein.
Go ahead. Anybody have any questions? Because there should be a lot of pens and books out right now.
Islam, Shem, where can I find this article at?
Where can you find what article at, Darlene?
I said, where can I find this article that you're reading?
Darlene is up on the board, Darlene.
I know it's on the board, Shem. I'm asking you, where can I find that article that you're reading?
Darlene, it had to be drafted by your ecclesiastic body.
I'm talking about the article that you are reading right now, Shem. Where can I find that article?
That's in the document, Darlene.
The article that is being read is a template, a guideline template to show how an ecclesiastical corporate soul was set up as charter. We're going over the process of what that would look like. It's not something that has been given out to the body population to utilize until they understand the premises behind this, the process. Sister Nana, I asked that question like 30 minutes ago, and that was the response. So right now, this is a template guideline that is going over how a corporate soul constitution is to be set up.
Thank you, Tamara. Let me add to that. Thank you very much, Tamara. See, this is why me, Professor, and Tamara, and the caucus, and the society, this is why we're teaching. Because you have to first know what is ecclesiastical body government is. Now let me say something. Let me say something, Darlene. Now you sit with us on the caucus. I'll leave it like that. We'll talk about that later on, Darlene. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, Nobles.
Article 11, waiver of notice. Whenever any notice is required to be given under the provisions, charter, constitution, bylaws, or under the provisions of the corporate sole articles of unincorporation, association, waiver of notice in writing signed by the parties or persons entitled to such notice, whether before or after the time started therein, will be deemed equivalent to the giving of such notice.
Now, let me explain something. When the charter constitutional bylaws, ecclesiastical one, this is just a forerunner. When it's created, every member of that congregation, when you operating in a foreign jurisdiction doing business, or to do business through an article of unincorporated association that you create yourself that's incorporated under the charter constitutional bylaws. Once you incorporate under that corporate soul, your articles under corporate association, then after the corporate bureau stamps it and put the seal on it and certify it, and then you are supposed to go, when you take the document and you're doing business in a political jurisdiction to protect yourself, you're supposed to do business under this. That's the corporate sole articles under corporate association is operating as a face for you and the corporate venue as a fictitious name. That means I'm here doing business for my corporate soul, and this is what I'm using for my education, banking, to protect yourself. Now, when a dispute happened, that corporate soul original principle existing, to me, the entity, the creature of the law is existing by the conscience of a Moor as the author and creator. Therefore, the Moor is drugged in his personal body. So now Morocco got original jurisdiction if it's a dispute about that. If the corporate soul is damaged by the governor or any corporate officer of the United States or foreign nation treaty with the United States is under the British dominion power, then the treaty, a general treaty 1856 between Great Britain and Morocco comes in. Then the treaty comes in and you file the council to the council. The Moors Council takes it to the British Council and bring your complaint. This is why Moors cannot get a remedy when they kill a Moor in the street. There's no government array. If there's a government array, if a Moor get killed cold-blooded in the street, the Moorish government can bring that state of origin and that political body and union into the British Council for a complaint. And they can say, well, he's not a Moor. That ain't for you to determine. We do that. That's why you got to have government structure. Ain't for you to determine. You ain't got no jurisdiction in this matter. Remember? You lost jurisdiction. So now, the United States citizens are not protected in Morocco anymore. Yes, you didn't know that? They have no protection. The only protection they got when they lost jurisdiction is through the British Council and the French and Spanish Council, because they don't have jurisdiction anymore. That's why we need government. That's why we got to get our act together. Come on, let's go. Love you, Morg. Love the way you're dedicated. I love that. Where you at? Article 12, 13, right? You read Article, no, you had Article 12, excuse me. Yeah, you didn't read 12.
Article 12, amendments. These bylaws may be amended at any congregational meeting by a 2/3 vote of the voting members participating, provided that written copy of the proposed amendment has been approved by the Board of Elders and the Divine General Overseer as members of the church and corporate soul at least 1 week prior to the meeting.
Now, let me explain what's going on here. The congregational mean, I'm going to explain that is. That is the full body of the assembling people that makes that corporate soul. That's a part of that. They have a right, if this Constitution does not protect the congregational, that's the congregation and their corporate souls, they have a right to request that this Constitution corporate soul be amended to comply with the covenant. I mean, if it's off the covenant, there's things in there that does not favor the congregation as a people, then they have a right to request and demand for an amendment so it could be in compliance with the articles, covenants, acts of the seers. Let's go.
Article 13, dissolution. If the membership votes to dissolve the DCSM as provided under applicable law, all assets remaining after satisfying all obligations of the DCSM under applicable, these constitution bylaws will be transferred to the corporate sole unincorporated association for its general purposes. Endowment funds policy addendum to DCSM bylaws approved by congregation on December blank 2020.
Go ahead.
Management of trusts, property, and assets for which the church members are the beneficiaries of the trust under the general direction.
No, stop right there. I got to go into this here. You see this in the Constitution? You see what they say? Church members are the beneficiaries. Right there, church members are the beneficiary of the trust. Now, what do you mean the church members are the beneficiary of under the trust? That ecclesiastic constitution. So when you tell me that someone left a trust for all of us, it got to be in the ecclesiastic constitution. It got to be in that charter. You just can't say that. You got to prove it to me. And you got to say that the people are the beneficiaries. Come on now. You just can't say that. Who's the beneficiaries? Just that congregation. The assembly of the people, the members. The general overseer, divine overseer, the elders, the ministers, the trustees, the president, the treasurer, secretary, and the members. Because you got to have members that have a secretary. You got to have members that have elders to be taught, or bishops, or trustees, or presidents. There got to be members that's appointed to that position. There got to be members that approve of someone being an elder or bishop under the covenants, acts, ordinance, and epistles of the seer. That's why the Pope uses epistles. Professor Abdullah broke that down, I think it's on one of the Facebook Lives, and the caucus thing. Epistles are made. Why do the Pope make epistles called bulls? They're orders. Why is the Pope, somebody don't know what they say, the Pope issue a bull, they don't know what that means. When the Pope issue a bull to a crown or a government, you know what he's telling them? He's commanding them to follow the orders of the apostle, because he considered himself as in the place of the Messiah, meaning that he is like God on earth. That's right. Tamara knows. Say it, Tamara. Let me hear it. That's right. Shoot, we got to know this stuff. Let's go, Omar. Establishing endowment fund. Go. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Management of trust, property, and assets for which the church members are the beneficiaries of the trust under the general direction of divine general overseer and board of elders. The board hereby designates the finance committee working with the board of trustees to oversee the investment of gifts. The legal instruments establishing each trust will specify who is responsible for the investments of the trust's assets. Establishment of endowment funds, guidelines for use of gifts. The Board of Trustees recommends the establishment of 4 endowment funds categorized as follows. A, primary endowment fund. The purpose of this fund is to provide a permanent resource for long-term church goals as formulated by the congregation. Constraints. 1, administered separately from other fund categories. 2, income accrues to principal. 3, no part of principal or interest may be used except by 2/3 vote of the Board of Trustees and a majority vote at congregational meetings for approval of the divine general overseer and board of elders with this proposal on the agenda. Held at least 2 months apart, but within the same year.
Now, hold right there. See, you notice that the Board of Trustees, whenever they do something, it have to go before the beneficiaries. That's the congregation. The proposal is supposed to be handed to them because they are the beneficiary, and also they are considered like the sovereign power. The spirit, the general divine overseer is a servant. He's not a master. He's not a ruler. He's a servant. The board of elders are servants. The bishop is a servant. The trustees are servant. To who? To the people. Which the seer was inspired to speak to protect them. Go ahead, Omar.
4, no principal may be used for ongoing operating expenses. B, emergency endowment fund. The purpose of this fund is to provide a permanent resource for emergencies, as defined by the Board of Trustees, Emergency Endowment Fund. Constraints. 1, administered separately from other fund categories. 2, income accrues to principal. 3, no part of principal or interest may be used for the defined emergency except by 2/3 vote of the Board of Trustees. 4, no principal or interest income may be used for operating expenses, nor be transferred to any other endowment fund except once annually at the express designation of the Board of Trustees, 2/3 vote, and majority approval of the congregation at a meeting called with this purpose on the agenda. Divine General Overseer and Board of Elders. C, Income Endowment Fund. The purpose of this fund is to support the annual operating budget of the church.
Yes, go ahead.
Constraints. 1, administered separately from other fund categories. 2, interest income from this fund after allowance for inflation may be used to supplement the church's operating budget as needed. Available interest income will be determined at the end of each calendar year and shall be limited to any excess at that time over the amount of the principal adjusted by that would be earned if invested at the 12-month percentage change in the most recent consumer price index, CPI
Now,
estimate.
when you see a constitution that's not set up, don't get scared when you hear the word congregation. Because congregation means gathering of people. It's a nation. It's people coming together as a body. It's people coming together. That means assembly. I mean, they're a population. See, a lot of us hear the word church, we get scared. Oh, I ain't got nothing to do with no church. I don't want to be involved with no church. You don't know the historic meaning of church. You don't know when you look back, define church. Don't look at what you see now. These places that you think are churches are not churches. They operating as a body of people, but they're not operating the ancient principles that the congregation with church is a nation. Go, question on the floor. Go ahead. Give it a microphone so she can hear. If fish your mouth to hear you. It's not on? Yeah.
What does church mean?
A body of people. Church is a congregation of people. Circle, like circle. So
church means circle.
Yes.
Church means circle. The etymology of church means circle.
Like a huddle.
K-I, Kirk.
Yes.
K-I-R-K means it's circle, derivative. All right. So the Latin form, circle, is the Latin form. All right. Kirkpatrick, Kirk is the Irish form. All right. So church means circle. So we're looking at circle, looking also an assembly of people. All right. We're also referring to even the zodiac, but church etymologically means circle.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Professor.
And if you're looking at an assembly holding hands, one across or the other, the women, the witches, holding hands. All right, so that's the church there. A church of women or circle of women holding hands, forming a church or circle. All right, just want to give its proper etymology.
Thank you. So that way now when you hear that, like somebody hear the word mosque, or they hear the word synagogue, or they hear the word temple. So they looking at, well, if you ain't saying that, it doesn't mean anything. You have to go back to, like Abdullah said, to the etymology root or the word epistemology, the way one used the language of etymology, and get the proper how this concept is being used without being distorted under constructive language. Okay, Amar.
3, no part of the principle may be used.
Okay, we're gonna end here and we're going to questions.
We're gonna go to questions. We're gonna end the video first. All right,
Yes.
I got it. Yes.
Got it.
All right, Islam, everyone. All right, so we're gonna play an audio. Kwame Brown, first round pick. Michael Jordan's first pick. All right, Kwame Brown, gonna play an audio. And it's important that we have to reach out to those who are unconscious. We got to get out to the people. And I said before, and I've said this repeatedly. My observation of conscious Moors, if they stay among themselves, we have to break that. We have to break that. We stay among ourselves. We have to reach out to the community. You know, I've heard conscious Moors who are arrogant and self-righteous, and that they arrived type thing, and and it's we separating ourselves from our people, thinking we better than them. This is my observation of 27.5 years. All right, so we're gonna play this audio and open up for discussion. All right.
Whatever happened to our geniuses, our kids that are supposed to be prodigies? What do they end up doing with these kids? We'll hear about them on the news. Where the fuck do they go after that? Are they taking them to a lab, getting them to teach them how they do shit, and then locking these boys up or something and casting them away and calling them crazy? Why aren't these child prodigies and these geniuses that look like these young kids, why are they not teaching coding to these young kids that they look like? Huh? But we'd rather bring somebody that read to our children that could be a pedophile. We'd rather bring them there instead of a child prodigy that's near their age, that can relate to the kids, that can help them do the wiggle wiggle. Yeah. That ain't gonna be upset and stressed out about life and their husband cheated and their kids are on their nerve. A little kid full of energy, full of passion to share that knowledge because he's a child prodigy. And you ever seen a child prodigy? Whatever happened, whatever to these young that could be a pedophile? We'd rather bring them there instead of a child prodigy that's near their age, that can relate to the kids, that can help them do the wiggle wiggle. Yeah. That ain't gonna be upset and stressed out about life and their husband cheated and their kids are on their nerve. A little kid full of energy, full of passion to share that knowledge because he's a child prodigy. And you ever seen a child prodigy on TV? They are amazing. They full of life. Why are they not teaching our children? See, Dr. Boyce, they do this to all kids like me, Doc. They send guys like you to sound all educated, that adults respect, and adults like you have been standing on kids' shoulders like me for long enough. You guys keep saying children are our future, but y'all are afraid of these children. These kids are smarter than all of you motherfuckers thought. An 11-year-old took $90 million, allegedly, $90 million, 85, transferred to his daddy. That little boy don't need a jail cell. That little boy need a classroom. That little boy need to be in front of a classroom, showing not only you dumb motherfuckers how he did it, but not you people on YouTube, but the dumb motherfuckers he hacked. He need to be teaching y'all, and then he need to be in front of some classroom teaching these children, because there's something special going on in that kid's brain. It's not time to scare him and put him in cuffs. His brain is not developed to know that that was wrong. You guys say you're smart. What age is the human brain developed? I think Charleston White has been telling you on YouTube 100 times. I think you have to be 25. So this kid is not fully developed, but he was developed enough to kick your drawers in your ass. So I think this kid needs a classroom and not you guys to scare him.
Yes. So we're going to analyze this and about nurturing an environment for our children. Education does not mean animal training. Education does not mean animal training. Indoctrination refers to that. That's indoctrination. Indoctrination's for animal training. Doc, teach, in, to. Education. DUC means to lead out. So education and training are opposites. They would be like antonyms. Education and training would be like antonyms, opposites. You don't put them together. When you're educating, you're not training. You're not training. You are facilitating an environment to lead out that divine where's the name? Shem. You have it, Shem. It can't be up there. You have it in your hand. Thank you. To lead out that divine, that divinity that's in the child, that divine mind, to stimulate it, create an environment to stimulate the divinity in the child and bring it forth. It's already in the child. You're not putting something in the child. The training is when, what's the training about, Abdullah? Is to suppress the indoctrination or animal training, not education, is to suppress that divinity, to keep that divinity locked in so that the divinity is not channeled and expressed. So that's animal training, indoctrination, not education. So we got to lead out. So we can open up for discussion.
Wow, that was powerful. Thank you.
Islam, you have any comments?
Islam. This is Khan Ra.
Islam.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
All right, let's go with this. What it is that every child is born under a star, under a sign, a zodiacal sign. That child can be studied according to that sign so it can know what to do. That is the mother's job and also the father's job. I rest the floor.
All right, Islam. Anyone else? Any comments? What are your thoughts on the first round pick by Michael Jordan?
Okay, yes, I have a comment. Yes, that was the first time I ever had really heard of Kwame. I had seen him, but then I seen his picture. It was kept coming up, and I was wondering, who is this guy? What is he talking about? So one time I just sat down and heard to listen what it is that he had to say. And so basically, someone has stated that a giant has awakened. And so actually, he's telling a lot of truths. You know, he's saying that at a young age, that we should be teaching our children like trades and stuff, like how trades and stuff were like done away with by design. So everybody could just go and get a piece of paper, not to take away from people who want to go to college and stuff like that. But it's important to be teaching our children, you know, early on about trade. And then one thing he kept talking about how he has a tractor and how he has his own land and stuff, and he's in freehold, and how it's important to have our own, and that it upset some people that he's not owned and controlled the way others are. I mean, they're manipulated, you know. So yeah, he thinks a whole lot, you know, about our children, and not just thinking it, but actually putting into action and doing things to help them. And so yeah, we should be doing the same thing, because to keep sending them to the school, we were taught lies in school. And so it'll be just like a vicious cycle of going, just being indoctrinated, you know, with lies to be taught you was a slave, Kunta Kinte from Africa. Everybody know the narrative and everything like that. But it's something special about this time now, to where it's just like a great awakening, to where different people are just speaking out on relevant issues, on relevant things. And that's why they're doing a lot of the terrible things that they're doing, because of the melanin, and a lot of the 666, which is we're carbonated people, 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. And you know, and the children, you know, being so special and coming from us, and being especially the melanated ones, especially to just suppress them. So he's speaking on that we need to do things to offset that. You know, we have to take our rightful place, and to really, really, really to protect them, and to make sure that they taught right, you know, early on, that things are set in place, you know, starting with school, that they're just taught early on, and that they're nurtured as far as to do what it is that they're here to do. They have divine purpose. Not to be impressed, but
Sister Mara, don't mean to cut your wisdom. Let's focus on, there was a message there, but we don't want to miss the purpose of playing the audio in relationship to tonight's meeting. What is the correlation here? What is the correlation?
Well, the correlation here is the divine mind of the boy that he was speaking on.
No. What is the correlation between the information that he was talking about in the meeting tonight's meeting? What is the correlation between the two? He gave the message about our church. It actually is longer than that, and it's going to be played. It actually was longer, but I have to queue it up on another system. It's actually longer than that. But that snippet right there, the correlation is that Abdullah mentioned it earlier, and he didn't want to go into it. He stopped. So we're just going to get into the correlation. The correlation is that we have a body of Moors in this movement who only communicate with conscious Moors that know they're Moors. But however, we have Moors, and I have air quotes up in the studio. We have Moors that are called unconscious Moors, but they're only unconscious to their national standing, political allegiance standing. They're not unconscious to the point that there's an oppression going on at hand. So that's the correlation that we need to see, that even though our Moors are not conscious to their political national status. Now that is connection that we all need to connect to, our oppression. Let's connect to our oppression so we can all stand up together, because it's not going to be hard to talk about our national political allegiance and how we're going to get there. The point is, even our unconscious Moors know there's oppression at hand, but they don't know which direction to navigate and move in on a national scale. They keep attempting to rebuild the oppressor's wheel spoke that may be broken, where we don't need to build that spoke. Get off that wheel and get on the right wheel of your ancestors. So that's the connection that we need to make with our unconscious. I don't even want to use that word. Let's just say our other Moors that have not tapped into them. I really don't. Into our national political allegiance.
All right, thank you.
So there's more to the video that will be played, and it's actually on YouTube. It was like 2 hours, but I was listening to it because I love the fact that he's going. He stayed quiet for 20 years, and he's coming out. He talks about how you always got the Sasquatch, which is the Bigfoot. You got many of Bigfoots out there, and a lot of us just remain quiet for so long. And then when we say something, people want to make you seem like, oh, you're crazy, you're arrogant, you're ignorant. No, it's that time to talk. And you're not going to be able to put once a giant wake up, you're not going to be able to put them back to sleep. They're going to start digging for the truth. And we have a lot of our Moors out there that's digging that we need to tap into. So that's the connection for the night with that audio.
All right. Any
Which audio
comments
was
on
that?
that, y'all? Let's open this thing up. Because we have to reach out to we got to build our population. And
What
that was
audio? What audio was that, brother?
Tamara. Say it. What's the question?
It's a snippet of Kwame Brown. He did a YouTube, and we took out about 5 minutes. It's like 2 hours. We took out about 5 minutes and 53 seconds of it, and we'll play more of it. I just have to cue it up differently so we can hear the whole entire 6 minutes of it. But on that part that you just heard, he was talking about the importance of what has happened to our prodigies. I always thought about that as well. Where's our baby prodigies? Where did they go? Why we don't see them? Why they're not in our communities? Why they're not in our schools? Have they kidnapped? I thought the same thing. They say, oh, this baby can read at this level. Then you never hear about them again anymore.
I'll be honest, have them.
Ding, 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 ding.
I'll be honest. They'll identify somebody from this area, right? Then take them out. Give them the finest school, because they're going to use them. They'll give them the finest school. They'll give them the best of the best. They give them the best of the best. All right. So they can use them, and they can make a chemical to kill you. They're going to make a chemical to kill you. What's they want? They're going to use them, their minds. They're going to give them the best of the best. They're going to make a chemical to kill you. Albion's going to make sure of that. They're going to make sure they get 6 figures, high 6 figures, BMWs, name it the best of the best. And they're going to make a chemical to kill you. That's where they at. What's they want? Because that's what they do. That's where they at. They take them out of Nigeria. They take them out of Ethiopia. They take them to brain trust to Britain, France. The brain trust of Nigeria are in France. They got 6 figures. The finest of finest. and making chemicals that kill us, our people. We got to tell like it is. The Abians, ain't no way the French are going to take Nigerians out of Nigeria and give them the finest of the finest and not use them. Our brothers and sisters don't even see this. You're being used. That's where they at. We have to, Tamara made a great point. My 27 years of observation, it's been this right to travel, 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 right to travel. No mass incarceration. These are Moors. No, Moors don't talk about the mass incarceration. I'm talking about conscious Moors. Conscious Moors don't talk about the mass homelessness. Conscious Moors don't talk about drugs in our community. No, they don't. Unconscious Moors do. 27 years of observation. I know what I'm talking about. Unconscious Moors talk about mass incarceration. Conscious Moors, right to travel. Unconscious Moors talk about drugs in our community. Conscious Moors, right to travel. Unconscious Moors talk about, I'm getting on us. We're pathetic. We're pathetic. 27 years. Right to travel. What about the other issues? What about the other issues? Talk to me. Shem, I need you to come up here.
Yes, it's something. Question is a terrible thing. Whew. Man, whew. Make you cry, man. They make you cry. It's serious too. He spoke some truth there. Our babies, our children, are being trained to come back and genocide us without a conscience. Are you happy because your daughter's son became an esquire? You happy because your son and daughter became water department, cutting off his own Moorish water? We all unconscious. The unconscious people don't know. That's why those who are conscious we got to do this. Questions? Questions?
I got a question, a general question. Does federal mean feudal?
Abdullah, did federal mean feudal? You said the federal mean feudal?
What's the
Does federal, the word federal, does
federal?
Does that mean feudal?
Federal, the federal government, it means what?
Feudal.
Feudal.
FID. FID is the Latin for the English faith. Federal means faith. Doesn't mean feudal, right? Feudal is a different word. So you have feudal, fief, feudalism. Now, pecu, peculiar, fee. The etymology of fee comes from pecu, a word peculiar. The etymology of peculiar, the root word for peculiar is pecu. It means cattle. So why does peculiar means cattle? Because in an agricultural society, Cattle is what? Wealth. Wealth. So we got to, that's why you got to, so when you're talking etymology, we have to look at time. So you got to take the word back to time. Culture, society, civilization, principle, agriculture, society. So of course, in the city, a cattle will be, you know, a nuisance. I mean, of course. All right.
I think we got a couple of voices that are got a lot of typing, but no voices. So let's get to it. I'm going to call you out. All right. Here we go. I heard Amir L. I heard federal mean contract.
All right. See, all right. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. We have to mature to the level of study. So I heard federal, I heard federal means contract. I'm looking for a dictionary. I heard federal means contract. Let me go to the dictionary. I heard federal means contract. Let me go to the dictionary and verify what I heard. Let me go to the dictionary to verify what I heard. We got to rise to that. Please, my brothers or sister, please. I am not making mockery. Please. I am using, I've done this. I've taught over 1,500 adults at Temple University Pan-African Study Communication Education Program. This is my method of teaching. This is called a teachable moment. I'm not making mockery. I'm raising the level of education. I'm raising the level. I heard, I would like for you to go to a dictionary to verify what you heard from this day forth. Verify what you heard by going to a dictionary and looking at the etymology. Verify what you heard. Education is for animal training. Verify what you heard. I heard education is for animal training. I heard federal means contract. Verify it. Go to the etymological brackets. We must rise to the level to become jurists. Abdullah said, no, Abdullah taught me how to use a dictionary. You don't hear Tamara Ill say Abdullah said. Tamara Ill will say Abdullah taught me etymology. Tamara Ill will say he taught me how to use a dictionary properly. But she's not going to say Abdullah said. Tamara Ill is going to look it up. I rest.
All right, here we go. Exlan Bay. Why do people say the word Morocco is French, therefore is a French jurisdiction?
All right. No, wait, let me, yes. Does it for us a French jurisdiction?
Well, there is a French word for Morocco. It's Moroccan, right?
Yeah, Marquette.
Marquette, yeah.
All right. Now, we're talking about transliterations, sound shifts. To be linguistically correct, all of the words that you ever spoken, any word that you have ever spoken has an ancient origin. Its true jurisdiction will be Chaldean or Babylonian or Sumerian. Any word that you have ever spoken, the original jurisdiction for any word that you have ever spoken would be Phoenician or Chaldean or Baldin or Metakada. All right, Metanetta. It would not be French or English or Old English or OI German or Latin or Portuguese, or that wouldn't be the original jurisdiction of any word that you have ever spoken. All right. We have to understand this principle. When I take this word, I take these roots, these ancient bilateral root system, Chaldean, Phoenician, Babylonian, Egyptian, Jesus. The origin, the original jurisdiction is in the ancient language. These are the original jurisdictions. Babylonian, Chaldean, all right? Chaldean, all right? Egyptian, Phoenician, Babylonian. The original jurisdictions of any word that has come out your mouth. Egypt, Hekapata. There's no form of Egypt without Hekapata. There's no form Jesus without these ancient roots. The modern forms don't exist without the mother. There's no modern form. That the Albions have not created words on their own. They've transliterated. And Sister Nana, we talked about this about 5 years ago. We had this lesson, I remember. 5, maybe 6, 7 years ago. And I was talking to Sister Nana about how Albions don't create words. It's not called creating words, it's called transliteration. The word is transliteration. Across the letter. So pater in Latin transliterates to father in English. It's called transliteration, or what? Reconstruction. Reconstruction So the word is being reconstructed. But what's its original jurisdiction? What's its mother? The mother form is not the mother. It still has elements of the mother. The colostrum. It carries the colostrum. This carries the colostrum. The colostrum comes from here. The colostrum. The mother breastfed this modern form, Jesus. It carries the colostrum. So these Albion's linguists are burying this. The word changed meanings. The word changed meaning. The word is inanimate. Change is the verb, an active verb, past tense. Word is inanimate. The word can't change because it's inanimate. So therefore, it's an illogical statement. Words can't change meanings because the word is inanimate. All right?
All right, Quintanelle, I'm gonna lower your hand. You can present your question.
Islam. My question pertains to increasing the Moorish body politic.
I can't hear you.
I said my question pertains to increasing the Moorish body politic.
All right.
A lot of times I want to present what I'm learning to unconscious Moors, but I just don't have enough information to properly present it to them.
All right, let me help you. Don't try to teach them. Hear me out, please. Don't try to teach them initially. Develop a rapport. Just develop a rapport. I think, thank you, brother. I think the block, and we talked about this, is that you're thinking that you have to go teach initially. You have to develop a rapport, relationship, show that you care, get among them, go to events and festivals, network. You network.
Brother, that's not what I'm getting at.
No, hold on, brother. You said, brother, no, hold on. You gasped me. This, I'm telling you I'm telling you my 27, over 30 years experience, brother. I'm saying don't teach them anything initially.
I'm not trying to teach.
No, let me finish, please, brother, please.
Go ahead and finish.
Please. All right. My co-workers, former co-workers. When I was among the security guards, the teachers, maintenance workers, I didn't teach me anything about Moorish history. Moorish history, Moorish nationality, Moorish birthright, no etymology, none of that. None of that. We talk about basketball. Talk about basketball or football. What was I doing? Developing a rapport. So once I developed the rapport, then what? They got the chance to know me. I got a chance to know them. Mr. Bay, what did he do? Right. Then they open up. You got the ear. But if I go to a school, don't know them. You're not nigger color black. You're not nigger color black. I don't know them. I develop a rapport. Guys, talk about sports. Football, baseball, I could talk about, right. Be poor. That's all. Show them that you care. Just get involved in it. Go to events, Black History Month events, Kwanzaa events. Develop a rapport in the community, a presence. I think Moors think they gotta go out. You're not nigga color black. You don't have to. You have to develop a presence. Show the community that you care. Network. When you go to a Black History event, or Kwanzaa event, or whatever event in a festival, you networking, you're developing. What do? Talk to the vendors. Talk to the vendors and get their cards. I'm telling you what I've done over 30 years. Next,
I wasn't done. I was trying to wait till you were finished so that I can.
Go ahead and finish your question.
Okay, I'm gonna yield the floor when I'm done making my question.
No, go ahead and finish your question, your statement.
Okay, I'm not trying to teach anyone. The people that I'm speaking to, I have a existing rapport with them. Some of them are family members, but I don't have enough information to present it to them correctly. For instance, I was asked the question, isn't there an existing Moroccan government in Africa? Are you trying to start one here? What kind of support is the Moroccan government in Africa going to give the government in America? That's like one of the questions I was asked. Another question I was asked, how much involved is the United Nations into establishing a Moroccan government in America? Another question.
All right, here you go, brother. Give him this lesson, brother. You say you don't have enough, no problem. Give him this. Give him this. Give him this lesson.
I wasn't done yet.
Give him this lesson, bro. Write this down, bro. Give him this lesson. You say you don't have enough information, brother. I'm helping you. Please, I'm helping you. Give him this. Give him that. Go to a dictionary. Go to a dictionary, brother, and show them Blackamore. Show them that a connection. Show them that they're Moors. This a fundamental lesson, bro. I'm just trying to kiss it right now. I'm just going to kiss it. Let's start with something that's basic with them. That can be verified in dictionaries that they have at their house. All right? I just want to kiss it.
I think, let me just see if I can sum this up. What happens is that a lot of the tough questions, the tough political questions are being answered, because if you're going into a conversation, I'm not saying you do, Quentin. What I'm saying, if you're having a conversation, if anyone may be having a conversation about Moorish nationality and things of that nature, the question that the unconscious Moor is going to have in their mind, well, where is this political government? Where is the protection? When I turn on TV, I see someone claiming they're in Morocco, but that Morocco is in Africa. How does that Morocco compare to the Morocco that you're talking about? So they don't understand that. That's a whole heavy lesson that they got to get to, because now you got to pull out a lot of weeds. You got to pull out a lot of weeds for them to be able to see that there's a difference between the empire of Morocco and the kingdom of Morocco. So even if you hit that answer, it still opened up Pandora's box to go into, but what about this? But what about this? But what about that? That's a temporary band-aid fix, and it's not getting to the root of really the understanding of nationality consanguinity and nationality political allegiance. So what we have to do We have to take our people all the way back to the dirt. You know how we say in the streets, we get it out of the mud. We got to take them all the way and get it out the mud. So I can relate to that. And I'm gonna give y'all just a quick snippet of how that I can relate to that even on the content when we say, well, I know them. This is my people, like this is my kinship. You know, I have a relationship with them. But I found out over the past 2 weeks, even with your own mother, you don't have that type of relationship with them if you have evolved to a knowledge of understanding nationality, consanguinity, political allegiance. And you got to remember, you're talking about 70 years of indoctrination. So I get to the hospital, it's bad. It's not looking good. And this is my mother, so I'm calling herbalists and they're telling me exactly what to ask the doctor and things like that. And I'm trying to talk to the doctor, and my mom getting frustrated because they trust the white coats. They trust the white coats. They trust them, right? But I'm your daughter. You're supposed to trust me. So I'm getting frustrated because you're not listening to me. I'm trying to help you. I come in, I fly in like a thief in the night. I mean, I fly in next day, get the call, I'm there next morning, first flight out. And I just want to help and say, my mom, that's my mom. And so she's not listening. She's listening to these white coats, and I'm about ready to throw them out the window. And you know, my herbalist is saying it's the kidneys, hurry up and do something for the kidneys. And I know, you know, just from what I've spoke to the herbalist, I know he's right and exact. And she's listening to them, let's try this medicine, I'm ready to chuck them out the window. I'm ready to just, my sister said, you going to jail today. I was like, I don't give a F, I'm going to jail, they're not killing my mom. And she's upset, but I'm thinking, this is my, then I do the call and I'm crying. I'm just about to blow up. And he said, Tamara, calm down. Just calm down. Let her be in resolving what she know right now. I know how you feel, but we have to let our people be resolved in what they know, because they don't see us as the herbalist. They don't see us as the political guru. They don't see us as the government figure. You know what I'm saying? So even when we having these conversations with them, they may not trust our answers because they don't see us there yet. So we just have to keep doing the work. I hope that story helped someone along the way. Michael Armstrong, I'm gonna lower your hand and you can present your question.
So I didn't get an answer.
All right, Islam. This will be the last question.
Michael Armstrong. Okay, Dr. Ashra Bey. Okay, DY. Dr. Ashra Bey, we can't hear you.
Islam.
Islam.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Halito for those from the Burberry states. Yeah, so just listening to the conversation you guys had. I just got out of class, you know, just teaching college, and just listening and just understanding. Uh, when you teach students from a 100 level to a 500 level, you know, it's different. In a 100 level course, I teach computers. I tell my students, you have to learn how to fish. And that means you have to learn how to Google. You have to learn how to research these issues. At a 500 level, I shouldn't have to tell them that. So I think teaching people how to fish will help them to help facilitate. Like that brother who said, how does the Kingdom of Morocco differ from the empire? Did he call and find that information out? Did he do any research? We have to learn how to fish. We have to. That's the only way we're going to learn. I yield the floor.
Ashe.
All right, we'll end there for the questions. All right. We have tomorrow, my first time we're teaching this 12-week core class on clauses. I've been studying etymology since 1998. And I've taught grammar over the years, but this will be my first time teaching the 12-week class on clauses that was taught to me in 1999. So I'm excited about this. This is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to, so open registration. We'll have registration open for 2 weeks. So class begins tomorrow. We know that the classes are recorded. They're live via Zoom, and they're recorded and uploaded to the OneNote. So if you don't register, if you haven't registered and you can't register until after tomorrow, you have time to register after the class has begun, as the classes are recorded. And when I took the classes weren't recorded. All right, so this is definitely a treat. All right, so we have here, I'm going to read about the 12-week online course, June 17th to September 2nd, which begins tomorrow. It's on Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hooked on Grammar 201. About our program, the instructor, yours truly, Abdullah Il Talimosi Bey. The 12-week grammar course is designed to aid students in improving their reading and writing skills by teaching students how to write and analyze noun, adjective, and adverbial clauses. Through this intensive study, students will be able to read long sentences and treaties, agreements, conventions, and other lawful instruments written in the 16, 17, 18, and early 1900s, as well as books written during that time period. So you can enroll now. You can enroll tonight. You can enroll tomorrow. And I said the class is in open enrollment for the next 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, we'll have the open enrollment, which we call late registration. All right. So we'll look at this sentence here. All right. Before I begin, there are 4 sentence structures. You have your simple sentence, which has 1 independent clause. Your compound sentence, which has 2 independent clauses. Your complex sentence, which has 1 independent clause on 1 or more dependent clauses. Your compound complex sentence has 2 independent clauses and 1 or more dependent clause. So we're going to determine what sentence structure is this. I could not go to school early because I studied lesson until last night. I could not go to school. Make sure I got this sentence written down correctly. Yep. I could not go to school early because I studied lesson until last night. So let's look at, we have because, which introduces an adverbial clause of reason. So this is adverbial clause of reason, because introduces adverbial clause of reason. And we have here, this is actually a preposition, until. I could not go to school. Why? Why couldn't you go to school? I could not go to school. This answers why. Why? Why you couldn't go to school? Because I studied lesson until last night. So this is a complex sentence. It has 1 independent clause. All right. 1 independent clause. I could not go to school early. I could not go to school early. That can stand alone. I could not go to school early. But if you want to provide more information, I could not go to school early. Well, why couldn't you go to school early? Why couldn't you go to school early? All right. Because I studied lesson until last night. Studied lesson until last night.
He was tired.
All right. So that's why I could not go to school early. All right. This sentence can get longer. You have 50-word sentences, 70-word sentences, 40-word sentences. All right. So this gives us a foundation to reading long sentences. Now we're going to turn us to the screen. We're going to have on the board, appear on the screen soon, all of you was received the Moorish Masonic Gate. The Masonic Gate, my Masonic Gate newspaper. Tamara did a wonderful job in laying out this issue of the Masonic Gate. This is the electronic version, the PDF version of the Masonic Gate newspaper. I put out the Masonic Gate in 2011. All right, so this issue of the Masonic Gate, this is the excerpt of my Masonic Compass Square and the connection to measurement and timekeeping book. And we have here the astronomy of St. John's Day. So what is St. John's Day? You know, that goes tonight to get to inspire you to even share this link to your co-workers, your kin, your friends. All right. So this is St. John's Day. St. John's Day is the most celebrated festival in all of Masonry throughout the world. This is the most celebrated. So what is St. John's Day? St. John's Day is celebrated on June 24th. June 24th, but it's actually the celebration of the summer solstice. How do you know that, Abdullah? All right, the summer solstice is June 21st in this northern hemisphere. Well, the cornerstone, there's a ceremony, during the ceremony on St. John's Day on June 24th. They're laying the cornerstone or keystone. And the cornerstone or keystone is laid in the northeast corner. The northeast, what is northeast? What's northeast about? What's northeast about? That is what? The direction of the apparent rise of the sun during the summer solstice. So we're using deductive reasoning. During the summer solstice, the sun rises. So you have there's 2 points where the sun crosses at its extreme position. You have the extreme northerly position of the sun, June 24th, first, and the extreme southerly position of the sun, December 21st, which is the winter solstice. These were charted thousands of years ago by ancestors. They have to mark this. This is in the article. You will see the point within the circle. So as you see here, Tamara has on, go back there, Tamara. So let's look at the sun. So you see the positions of the sun. You see where the sun during December, all right, the sun rises low. During the summer, the sun is rising high. All right, so this the extreme southerly point, the extreme northerly point. So you see here. Now, they have what's called the point within a circle. Now, where does this come from? Tam's going to show you the point within the circle. All right, so we have the point within the circle with the 2 parallel lines. And the point within the circle marks the summer solstice and winter solstice points. This is ancient knowledge. There are actual grids, and Tamara, go to that picture, Tamara, where they'll show where they have the medicine wheel. So that's an actual medicine wheel, all right? And there are thousands of them throughout the world. So where did they get this concept from? Showing you here in the picture, it's ancient and has what? It has an astronomical function, not just put on a pendant or a t-shirt or on a wall, point within a circle. What is its function? So the St. John's Day is actually the celebration of the summer solstice. This is ancient knowledge, marking the solstitial points for agricultural purposes, for navigation. There are 2 points where the sun crosses the equator. That's not the point of this article. Now you have here the checkerboard floor. The checkerboard floor, and you have the sun rises. And you have there's called pylons, or you have what's called Stonehenge. Stonehenge marking the winter and summer solstice. Thousands of Europeans ascend to Stonehenge, and these are markers that are placed throughout the world, and you can actually see the rise of the sun right in between the two pillars of Stonehenge on December 21st, and also during the summer solstice. So these are charting the rise and setting of the suns, charting the rise of the sun during the summer solstice, and charting the rise of the sun during the winter solstice. So these are what? Calendars. All right. So you have Boaz and Jachin. Boaz and Jachin are your markers marking the winter solstice and summer solstice points. This is our knowledge. I wanted to though Tamara sent this out to everyone, I wanted to take a little bit of time explaining that, because you say, well, St. John's Day, what does it have to do with us? What does St. John's Day have to do with the Moors? I'm not a Mason, you know what I mean? St. John's got nothing to do with us, you know what I mean? So I'm explaining, all right, and so we want you to share it. Want you to flood it, get it out. Share it on your Facebook, all right? I've already reached out to over 30 of my Masonic connections. I've built rapport, listen to me. I built rapport over the years. I've spoken at Masonic lodges, been Masonic conventions. I have developed rapport over the years, so I can call them. I sent them the article. They're going to share it with their connections. The last page, let's look at the last page. We have the advertisement page. So on the advertisement, oh yes, this is I met this brother, El-Kanan, over 2 years ago. He's in the Moorish territory where Chicago Corporation operates. And so this is you see here, Masonic outreach. So I've been teaching this brother for 3 months. 32 years. 32 years, and he didn't know masonry. 32 years, he didn't know masonry. I'm teaching him masonry. Masonry is what? What I'm teaching you right now. We're talking about the function. Our brothers and sisters have been disorientated into looking at the point within the circle with the two parallel lines as just a mere symbol. That's a Masonic symbol. You know, that's the point within the circle with the two parallel lines. That's a Masonic symbol. I'm a Mason. That's the point within the circle. That's Boaz and Jachin. There's no function of measurement and timekeeping. No application of its use in ancient civilization worldwide. That's just mere symbols. Now, we have the altar, the Masonic altar, they call it. In this article, you'll see there's a boulder. The boulder is actually the altar. So the boulder is a marker for the point or altar. So they have this huge boulder, and you see where you have the boulders placed here, and then also a rod, those long stick. That's the placement of the altar for marking the winter solstice and summer solstice points. This is ancient knowledge. So I show. So going back to I didn't explain the checkerboard floor. The checkerboard floor. The checkerboard floor is the casting of the shadow light as the sun rise of the sun. Shadow light. Groundhog Day. not seeing a shadow or seeing a shadow. The length of the shadow, you can determine by the length of the shadow the time of year or that spring is near. So it's for timekeeping and measurement. When you measure the tree and length of the tree, how do you measure the length of the tree? Plain trigonometry. You measure what? The shadow it casts. By measuring the shadow it casts, the hypotenuse, base. All right, so understanding the mathematical origin of these measurement tools and devices. Now we have an article coming out, another article we're going to come out next week on the astronomical origin of July 4th. That star in masonry is called the blazing star. The blazing star is emblematic of Sirius the dog star. All right, so I just wanted to share this with you. And like I said, post on your Facebook page, send it to your kinfolks. This will help you. This will help in facilitating education. This is going out to thousands of Masons and Eastern Stars. This is going out to thousands. Right? The network is big. He's Elkanah, other people that contacts I have, they're part of the huge nationwide network. These are relationships I've been building over the years. My point that I was making to the brother is building relationships. Building relationships. Developing rapport. Network. It goes a long way. Developing a presence. So I'm and continuing up with Elkanah. There's channels that he can get through that I can't because he's 32 years. He's well invested. He knows he has gone through the proper channels, speaking to grand commanders, speaking to grand masters. They're going to flow it. They're going to send it out to their connections. It's going to flow. The last page. The last page is the advertisement page. It's to connect them to what we're doing. Is to connect them. You see here. See the last page here? Is to connect them to what we're doing. Bring them home. Bring them home. Yes, they're home, but they're not home here. So we have the article, the ad for the grammar course, and we have the ad for tonight's class, the zone classes. I mean, the body politic formation classes. All right, is to bring them home. So let's just continue to build and build. I reached out to all my Masonic connections. They were more. They gave me the thumbs up. We're going to send it. Thumbs up. They were so happy to hear from me. All right. When Shim, Tamara, and I, began working together. Actually, I had been working with Tamara for three and a half years. Tamara has done, layout for me. She's done PowerPoints for me going back 3.5 years ago. And then I reconnected with Shim, and I connected Shim with Tamara. We began working together, so studying. All right. So when I did that, I had just put out the Masonic Gate, 100,000 copies were printed. And Tamara remembers, but because I was meeting with Shim 5 to 6 days a week, Tamara tell you, and Tamara was at work on the phone, she's listening, got on speaker, Tamara bought headphones, and right? 5 to 6 days a week. All right, so I was just that consumed a lot of my time, so that's, though we had the paper and they were able to connect with a lot of the current caucus members as a result of the paper. Now, so I said, well, the brother Elkanah called me about 4 months ago, and he's like, wow, I'm the grand lecturer now. wow, we could do something because we had talked about this 2 years ago. What we doing now, we had talked about 2 years ago. So that's what I'm going to teach you. All right. So St. John's Day is coming up. All right. Let's do St. John's Day. I'll teach you. All right. We'll do once a week. I'll build you up so that you can be able to teach. All right. And that's what we're doing. All right. So I just want to end there. All right. So see y'all tomorrow, 7 p.m. and
Yes, sir.
Saturday. Tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow class, like I said, open registration for the next 2 weeks, everyone, for tomorrow's class. And Saturday's class, we'll see y'all Saturday. That's already, we have 3 more classes for the Juris 201 course. All right. So thank you again. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.